You all asked for more Portal Iceberg, so here it is. Things are going to get even more obscure, and we're still not even a quarter of the way done. Stick around to the end for comment responses and corrections from the last video. Now let's begin. First is a design inconsistency about the first game. See, in this menu screen, you can see an IV stand in the relaxation vault, but when you play this part of the game properly, it's just not there. My guess is that at some point during development they removed the stand from the level, but forgot to do so for the menu. 2. You can beat Portal without the portal gun. Yes, it's possible. Speedrunner Dinos proved it in 2022 with this 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 second run, with mSushi making a video explaining how it's done. This is covered by the Least Portals category extension on speedrun.com, with the current record set in May 2023 by Florb at 37 minutes and 5 seconds. 3. Tag the power of paint. Just like the first Portal, Portal 2 includes mechanics from a project by students at the DigiPen Institute of Technology. Their game finished in 2008, about a year after Portal's release. It won the Independent Games Festival Student Showcase Award, and the team was then hired by Valve. The paint gun mechanics from TAG became the gels seen in Portal 2. Initially, Portal 2 would not have reused the same protagonist from the first game. Instead, Valve planned on using a new character and considered naming her Mel. This idea was dropped when there was negative feedback from playtesters, and instead, Portal 2 reuses the same protagonist from the first game. In 2015, a fan mod called Portal Stories Mel reused this character. Owners of Portal 2 can download that mod for free from Steam. Throughout the early levels of Portal 2, you can often see debris and trash in the elevators. This includes low-poly storage cubes and turrets. If someone wants to make a mod that replaces those cubes with the normal model, I would be grateful. This is the largest item on the iceberg for this video, and it's all about the mythology references in Portal 2. There are lots of them, particularly to ancient Greece. Richard McCormick of the PlayStation 3 magazine wrote an article that discusses some of these references. Hey, so I'm in the middle of editing this video right now, and I'm pretty sure everyone's just borrowing from this Reddit post, because this post is from about 3 months before McCormick's article, and 1 month before Charlie Barrett's article, which McCormick might have used. And, unfortunately, I can't give credit to this Reddit user because they deleted their account. Portal 2 is a bit on the nose in comparing GLaDOS to Prometheus, but McCormick says Wheatley might be likened to Prometheus' foolish brother, Epimetheus. A support pillar seen in Old Aperture shows the word Tartarus, which is the name of the pit that Prometheus was thrown into from Greek mythology. Later in the game, you can see a portrait of Cave Johnson and Carolyn, with a figure hidden in the shadow. This appears to be Aeschylus, which is one of the possible authors of the ancient Greek tragedy Prometheus Bound. Some users on Reddit suggest that the field seen in Portal 2's ending could be a reference to the Field of Reeds, an afterlife for the virtuous and heroic from ancient Egyptian myth. Here's an interesting fact about Portal 2's sound design. The laser receptacle emits music when it's activated. Depending on which receptacles are active, music tracks are added or removed. This clever trick boosts the game's immersion. Moon cycles. This is the first entry from this particular part of the iceberg to really throw me off. I had no clue what was meant by moon cycles. After some research, I found this Reddit post talking about a piece of graffiti early in Portal 2, which depicts the phases of the moon around a hole in the ceiling. This is definitely foreshadowing for the game's ending, where you shoot a portal onto the moon's surface. Similar graffiti can be found in several other Ratman dens throughout the game. Cut time mechanic. Valve seems to be really interested about the idea of time serving as a real game mechanic. Even back in Half-Life 1, there was an idea to simulate moss growth in real time. According to this interview with Josh Wire, there was a discussion about a bullet time mechanic that could have helped players with intense timing challenges. Lost Build 4104. Build 4104 is considered to be an ideal version of Portal to be used in speedrunning. Depending on exactly which category you run, some builds of the game might have bugs that can help for faster times. As someone who mostly runs the glitchless category, the precise version that I play isn't so important, but for out-of-bounds runs, it can save a significant amount of time. An update in 2010 in the lead-up to Portal 2 added radios that are used in some speedrun routes, but soon another update put limits on out-of-bounds movement. So before these updates, speedrunners could go out of bounds but didn't have the radios. After this update, they couldn't move so easily out of bounds, but they did have the radios. However, there was a brief time in between these two updates that presented a golden opportunity for speedrunners, a version known as 4104. Unfortunately, Portal runners at the time were not so aware of this opportunity, and so this version was not preserved. As early as 2017, runners searched for this missing build and found it in August 2024. Thanks to Evan Lin for this excellent video about 4104. The next entry on the list is Portal 1 ARG. To my knowledge, Portal 1 contains not one, but two ARGs, and I'm not certain which one this entry is referring to, so I'm going to explain both. The first is ApertureScience.com, which is a now-defunct website that expanded on some of the lore from the first game. It also included an application to become a test subject. The initial version of this page let you access secret messages passed between Aperture Science employees who are beginning to suspect that something is amiss. One message reads, "I don't think going home is part of our job description anymore." This site included lore about Cave Johnson and the history of the company. Since this ARG was written well before Portal 2 had entered development, it contains many differences from the backstory contained in Portal 2. Most notably, instead of being killed by exposure to moon rocks, Cave Johnson is killed due to exposure to mercury while secretly developing a dangerous mercury-injected rubber sheeting from which he plans to manufacture 7 deadly shower curtains to be given as gifts to each member of the House Naval Appropriations Committee. Then his organs fail, and he gives some instructions on how to carry Aperture Science into the, quote, fast-approaching distant past, because apparently he thought that time was flowing backwards. His steps included developing the Heimlich countermaneuver, a way to, I guess, stop someone from performing the Heimlich maneuver. The second was the Take-A-Wish Foundation, where you transfer wishes from people who are going to receive a wish, and you give it to someone else. And then third was, quote, some kind of rip in the fabric of space that would, well, it'd be like, I don't know, something that would help with the shower curtains, I guess. I haven't worked out this idea as much as the wish-taking one. An expanded version of this timeline was given to Game Informer, and claims that GLaDOS was activated in 1998, mere days before the Black Mesa incident. Half-Life series writer Mark Laidlaw claims that this year is incorrect, and the correct year is sometime in the early 2000s. A second ARG in Portal 1 came in the form of several radios added to the game before Portal 2's announcement. Radio transmissions could be decoded to reveal concept art and other teasers for Portal 2. The next item on the list is personality core shrinking. I spoke to itsthebeanguys, and it seems like some people think that the personality cores may be smaller in the second game than they were in the first. I'm not so sure about this, so I spawned them each in Gary's mod and then held them with the gravity gun. They look about the same size to me, however, I also took some in-game screenshots from Portal 2 and in Portal 1. Whately definitely appears smaller here, but I think that Portal 2 just has you holding him further away than the first game did. F-Stop Beta. After the release of the Orange Box bundle, which included Portal, much of Valve was instructed to develop new experimental game design concepts, with an idea that Portal as a franchise would explore a totally new mechanic for each game. One of these concepts was called F-Stop, which was developed into a story set in the early days of Aperture. While details are few, this period included some retro-future aesthetics. The key mechanic was a camera which could take pictures of an object to copy and paste them in the environment, rescaling them depending on your perspective. For an idea of what this might have been like, play Superliminal. There's a toilet in Portal 1's relaxation vault, and flushing it makes it speak in the voice of a turret.
Your business is appreciated.
If you've played Portal 1, then you've definitely seen Hoobie the Hoop, but you might not know of its significance. Waking up in the parking lot after defeating GLaDOS, the player will see a white metal hoop fall from the sky in front of them. Portal's developers expected this to become a joke among fans, only for most of them to latch onto the companion cube instead. Softlocking is a term for when a game remains playable and still accepting and responding to inputs without crashing, but it is no longer completable. In both Portal 1 and Portal 2, GLaDOS has special voice lines for some situations where players might trap themselves.
Through no fault of the Enrichment Center, you have managed to trap yourself in this room. An escape hatch will open in 3, 2, 1.
In Portal 2, one of Ratman's dens has a massive collection of coffee mugs which he probably collected while he was hiding in the walls. There are 17 varieties which say, "Who farted?" "I hate Mondays," among many other things. LEGO Dimensions was a bit like a LEGO version of Skylanders, released in 2015. One of its level packs was themed around Portal, and it features new cutscenes with the Portal 2 cast, along with another song by Ellen McLean. I haven't played it, so leave a comment if you think I should play it on a live stream. Cut gels. There are two types of gels that were considered for Portal 2 but didn't make it into the game. Both are unused in the game, but can be made mostly functional using mods. Adhesion gel allows the player to walk on walls and the ceiling. It was cut because playtesters got motion sick. It was colored purple during development. The other was called reflection gel, and it reflects lasers, including those emitted by turrets. It was developed alongside the peer review DLC by adapting the unused adhesion gel to a new purpose. This caused reflection gel to inherit adhesion gel's ability to cancel out the effects of propulsion gel. But this behavior was probably not intended to be final. Both reflection and adhesion gel are missing some textures, so they don't render correctly in some situations, and reflection gel uses propulsion gel's splash effect. We're still only halfway through the second layer of this iceberg, still well above the surface level. Nonetheless, there are a lot of things on here that I wasn't familiar with. You guys left a lot of comments in the last video, including some details that I got wrong or simply missed. Please do leave comments on these videos if you've got feedback or trivia to add, and I will try to respond to all of them. First, Nick Razoff and Mr. Dr. Bass pointed out that some of the translations for the game, including Spanish and Russian, give a little bit more of that fourth portal gun rule that isn't audible in English. The fourth rule is, apparently, to not take the portal gun out of the facility. Waffles ASAP suggested that the science fair display with Chell's name on it from the Bring Your Daughter to Work Day section of Portal 2 could be a hint at her being related to Carolyn and Cave Johnson. I'd say this is definitely possible, as it indicates that at least her father definitely worked at Aperture. However, I still think that the way GLaDOS refers to Chell as daughter during the turret opera at the end of the game is metaphor. In fact, Robot6346 in the comments claims to be a native Italian speaker. They say that this could easily be a way for someone to address a younger person that they care about. Given the way that GLaDOS saves Chell's life at the end of the game, and the fact that this is their last conversation, the last time that GLaDOS will talk to her, I think it's very plausible that she would address Chell in a metaphorical but emotionally charged way. I also have two corrections to make from the last video. First, when I was comparing the look of DirectX 8 Portal to Portal RTX, I should have said that the game in general looks similar, not the Portal specifically. Even though RTX is based on the DX8 version, they still changed the portals to look like we're used to in DX9. Second, I should clarify that we don't really know if Valve actually planned on ending the first Portal game in Zen. That's just a possible indication of what could have been a placeholder. I was thrilled to see all the responses you left in the last video, and by how many of you were hoping to see this channel grow. I'd really appreciate it if you took a look through my previous work to let me know what I should make once I'm done with this series. You're of course welcome to discuss that in the comments, but I think my Discord server would be a better place for that. I do also try to live stream at least twice a week, usually weekends at about 8 PM Central Time. If you'd like to chat with me, that's probably the best time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.